rims rest on low rim. Orange and blue flames.
Donte Divincenzo appears to be returning to the New York Knicks, or at least has shown a ton of interest in it. Even speaking on the subject, as I cough during the intro, on top of that, we are also seeing the New York Knicks interview multiple coaches, and Matt has a green background right now. And we are going to break all this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest Happy Hour. Matt is now inside MSG circa 2013, and we are going to jump right into things. Matt, well, we always heard all the Donte Divincenzo noise. It was a big thing with the world, with the Knicks fans, and then obviously it went quiet around the playoffs, but now there has been rumblings that the New York Knicks front office has been interested in a reunion. Around the new year, they tried to trade back for Donte. However, it did not work. And on top of that, what happened after is that they would just circle back around the offseason. Well, Matt, the offseason's here. And it's Donte season once again, especially with his name coming up in trade rumors in regards to Kevin Durant. Donte was one of the people offered in that Kevin Durant trade offer. And from there, obviously, you have to consider the Suns, a team that needs a center. The fact that the Mitchell Robinson and Divincenzo money lines perfectly up, it does get pretty interesting when you're considering this whole situation. Also, on a separate note, they did interview multiple people for the head coaching job, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the Donte news is brewing right now, Matt.
All right, Donte Divincenzo, fan favorite Knick, even though he's only here for a short amount of time. Some may argue more of a favorite Knick than Julius Randle, even though it was Julius Randle who pulled this team out of, I would say, mediocrity, but it was oblivion. It was even worse than mediocrity. The Knicks were absolutely nowhere, and then we trade him away. He got no respect. But let's talk about Donte Divincenzo. We're watching two teams right now, or maybe you're not watching them. Two teams in the NBA Finals, in the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very, very deep teams. If we are going to match up with these teams, we have to become very, very deep ourselves. Donte Divincenzo would be a great another role player to pick up in terms of putting out a 9-man lineup, all of guys who are very good. That's what the Indiana Pacers have. That's what the Oklahoma City Thunder have. That's what we're going to need to do to be able to compete with these guys. They run really hard the entire game. Doesn't matter who's having an off night because someone else is having an on night. And when you're 9 deep, it just gives your team that many more opportunities to have a guy who is going to have a good night. That's where you find the stuff like the TJ McConnell night that we've seen in Game 5. That can happen out of Donte Divincenzo, even though Dante's better than him. Chris, The one thing I don't like is we know we need rim protection. We know rim protection is nearly impossible to trade for. Why would we trade it away?
Well, here's the two sides that we're looking at of this story. Now, with Donte, the way for this to happen is particular. The Knicks tried, and I've said this a million times, the Knicks tried to trade Mitchell Robinson, or they offered Mitchell Robinson with Julius Randle in that first-round pick that was traded to Minnesota for Karl-Anthony Towns on draft night. Timberwolves said, no, we're not interested in Mitchell Robinson, even though we are fine with moving Cat because we're in salary cap hell right now. We have a serious second apron problem, and we are okay. And they got $12 million of cap relief when they traded Karl-Anthony Towns off of their team. So they believed they could succeed without him. They got just as far without him than with him. And it turned out they're right. And obviously, they got players in return. It's not like they dumped off Towns. They got Julius Randle, who's an all-star. They got Donte Divincenzo, who's a great player for the Knicks, putting up 15.5 points per game, shooting 40.1% from three that season. So obviously, you look at some of this stuff, and it becomes this scenario where we're not going to get rim protection that matches Mitchell Robinson. But the Knicks, they've been all right with moving Robinson, and though I don't necessarily usually agree with it, there's two main points that we come to. One is the injury stuff. We can't pretend like it doesn't exist. It does. Yes, he was healthy during the playoffs, but he also wasn't his full best self because he was clearly still shaking off a bit of rust and wasn't able to really go for a long time on the court. He was at his best in short spurts, but he would gas out because he just hasn't been used to playing full-term NBA games in a while. So that's part of the story. I don't think anyone's expecting next season to come around with Mitchell Robinson on the roster and for him to play anything more than 65 games. I mean, if he plays 60, I'd be surprised, just based off the history. I want him to. I love Mitch. He's my favorite player on the Knicks, but it feels unlikely. On top of that is the last year of his contract. And the Knicks, they have this Mikal Bridges extension that's brewing. They have Josh Hart, who was not on contract for the longest time. You look at all these areas, Leon Rose brought all these guys in except for Mitchell Robinson. On top of that, Robinson's value just rose because he was part of a Knicks team that, I don't want to say was a Cinderella story at all. They were supposed to beat the Pistons. They did their job. They beat the Boston Celtics, albeit there was the Porzingis thing and obviously Tatum being injured in Game 3. Or Game 4, excuse me. And on top of that, what we've seen is now this situation that the Suns need rim protection. They're still trying to win because they don't have draft picks and they have a guy named Devin Booker. And Booker does not want to leave the Suns. He wants to win with the Suns. He refuses. He's being loyal to a fault where they've given him obviously a lot more than like what the Trailblazers gave Damian Lillard, which was nothing at all. And I'm not dissing CJ McCollum at all, but he never made an All-Star game. And he probably should have, but in the East he maybe would have at some points. But at the end of the day, what we're looking at is a scenario where the Suns are still going to try to win. Is their best bet having Donte DiVincenzo when obviously this is a really bare bones way of putting things, but your franchise player is sort of the best version of Donte DiVincenzo in a lot of ways, or same position, elite shooter, that type of stuff. Or would you rather a rim protecting center who also you're a team that has apron issues, you could have him off your books in a year if you decide that he's not worth the money. So it comes down to that more than anything else. What are the Suns valued more? Do they want more scoring? And are they getting Rudy Gobert in a trade if they make this deal with the Timberwolves? And for the Suns, personally, I think the best deal is, you're laughing, is making me nervous.
I was so confused. I thought you were talking about trading for DiVincenzo, then immediately flipping him for like Kevin Durant or something. I was trying to figure out where the Knicks fit in, and now I realize they don't.
This is all what has to lead up to the Knicks effectively landing him in the thought process that the Suns would be interested in swapping Devo for Mitch. My thought on this whole thing is what you're going to have to look at is this sort of deal, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen right now, so you guys are going to see not Matt for 1 second, and it's not loading, so that's perfect news. Super happy about that. There it is. This is the trade that I think makes the most sense. Now, I threw the Knicks in here as a 3-team trade just because it's a step easier on Fanspo to do so. But the Timberwolves will be getting Kevin Durant. The Suns get Julius Randle, so they get scoring back. They get Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks. They get Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., both of whom were offered to the Suns as part of that Kevin Durant trade, on top of the Timberwolves number 17 pick and the Knicks 2026 first-round pick via Washington that is a conditional pick that Phoenix also gets. It does say the right to swap there. It should not be that. It's just straight up. And the Knicks, in return, get Donte back. And that's the trade that we're basically looking at, is we see the Timberwolves acquire DiVincenzo, Randle, Dillingham, Shannon, and a first for Durant. In return, then the Knicks flip Mitchell Robinson for DiVincenzo afterwards. And I think that's something that when you look at it does make some sense for this Knicks team, because there's not as good rim protectors, but there are some in that free agency market, namely Clint Capella.
So, Chris, for me, it comes down to the New York Knicks, after last offseason's Mikal Bridges blockbuster trade, we are running out of fungible, flexible assets to move in deals. So Is this the way that you want to go ahead and spend one of our final first-round movable picks on an upgrade? How many years is Donte Divincenzo under contract for?
2 more. Same as Bridges right now, and I want to say same as Josh Hart.
So we swap Mitchell Robinson as 1 year, right? Yeah. So Mitch has 1 year. We will get an additional year under contract, and we get a better player, but we lose the rim protection that Mitch would bring to the table, and we lose one of our first-round picks. I'm honestly not on board. I think the Knicks need to get more out of their first round picks that they can trade if they are going to improve this roster. Yes, in theory, they're in a better spot, but I am very, very worried about picking up more rim protectors after watching an entire year of it being impossible for us to find one.
Yeah, I think that's also part of it. You look at 2 other scenarios here as well. First of all, if you trade Mitch for Divincenzo, let's say if this happens, you're not getting as good of rim protection. Mitchell Robinson is one of the best rim protectors in the league. You have to go out there. You have to give Clint Capella that mid-level exception, which would be around $6 million with the James Najee move that kind of implicates the cap a little bit. James Najee, very raw, very much just signed, or technically not signed. He's coming over from the Euro Leagues where the Knicks own his draft rights, something they got in the Karl-Anthony Towns trade when they traded Mamadi Diakite, Dwayne Washington Jr., and Daquan Jeffries to the Charlotte Hornets, and the Hornets gave them back the rights to James Najee. Najee obviously never played an NBA game, but he's coming over and he wants to play, and that means he's a Knick, unless the Knicks trade his draft rights, which they're not going to do, because if they sign him to a rookie minimum deal, for some reason, they get more money in the taxpayer mid-level exception, which right now for them sits at $5.7 million. Teams that are not over the first apron, the Knicks are over the first apron. Those teams, what they look at, Matt, is an $11 million contract. The Knicks have 5.7 because they're over. That's one of the stipulations of this first apron that they have. So, based off all this, we're seeing a Knicks team that desperately needs a rim protector if they make this trade. Here's the flip side of it. Now, yes, the 2 teams in the NBA Finals both have a great rim protector. Chet Holmgren's great rim protector. Obviously, Hartenstein, another great rim protector. Miles Turner, one of the best shot blockers in the game. So, obviously, there's that to start with. You're banking on a guy in James Najee who, frankly, looks like a young Mitchell Robinson in a lot of the way. And Matt, because we also got this ability now, we're taking a look right now at some of the highlights from James Najee. This is exactly 1 minute of highlights from Najee. For everyone watching, now, Matt, I believe you also have the stream up, and you'll see it. What we're seeing right now is a guy who, the putbacks, the way he's attacking the offensive glass, the movement looks similar to Mitchell Robinson. But again, this is a guy who was picked 31st overall in the draft, so 5 picks prior to Mitch, but also Mitch is widely acknowledged as a massive draft steal. So you look at Najee, you're banking on this guy working out. You really are banking on it. As long as, the way he's blocking shots, he can use both hands. The man can fly through the air. He's got a lot going for him on defense, plays that defensive coverage really, really well. He's a really talented player. It's a matter of, is it going to pan over against the best basketball players in the world? And if Najee could do that, if Najee can look like this guy, then what we're looking at is a great situation for this Knicks team. But it's likely that's not going to happen when he's a rookie. Now, maybe he'll play as a rookie because the coach that did not play rookies infamously is now no longer coaching the Knicks. On top of that, you have Ariel Hukporti. Are you banking on him staying healthy? He's had 2 major injuries in his career already. Tore his Achilles, made him miss 2.5 years. The Knicks loved the idea of picking Hukporti late in the first round in 2021. Hukporti ruptures his Achilles, is out for a year and a half, comes back, gets drafted in 24 with the last pick in the draft, and the Knicks, they still love Hukporti, but are they going to use him? And it becomes that where you have to start to look at things. Do you trust that one of these young guys is way better than everyone's giving them credit for? Or are you spending your $5.7 to $6.5 million on a Clint Capella because you now have Divincenzo? And Matt, my view of this is, let's say, for argument's sake, they do both these moves. They sign Capella, they get Devo. Let's say that happens. What we then have to look at is, what is this starting lineup? Because if you're starting Capella next to Cat, we need to use one of Najee, assuming he makes the team, which I think he will, and Ariel Hukporti. Obviously, it'll be Hukporti where things stand right now. He's been on the team. Man's got a lot of skill as a big man. first time he ever put the ball on the floor, he ended up dunking all over the guy who then won Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. So you then bank on Ariel Hukporti being everything you hoped he would be. So it all kind of leads to this.
Yeah, Najee, he does look just like Mitchell Robinson in the way that his arms are too long for his body.
Yeah.
Also,
7'7" wingspan.
That's pretty close to the ideal length that we're looking for out of a center. But you got to take risks. When you're looking for the next great rim protector like that, you got to take risks in the draft. That's why, Chris, I told you last year I would have loved to take a shot on Yves Missy, the guy out of Baylor, who was just these super raw prospects who are, very tall, they're athletic, they can block shots. That's the type of guy that the Knicks need to find a way to bring in. Obviously, this draft not really well positioned to make an acquisition like that with only a second-round pick. But Leon Rose has figured out some fancier footwork with his assets before. I have no doubt he's going to do it again. And you were asking, if this trade goes down, would we, want to use the guys in-house in Najee and Hukporti, or would we want to bring in Capella? I think we should hope for the young guys and bring in Capella or a Capella type, because we would need more rim protection, and it doesn't seem like a good process to me to put the rim protection of the New York Knicks, a finals hopeful team, in the hands of a second-year player who barely played as a rookie because the coach doesn't play rookies. So for those young guys to get enough burn and get enough love, we're going to have to watch, we're going to have to watch who is signed as the head coach. And it needs to be someone who's actually going to play these guys. And then when they play, they actually have to develop, but they're going to have to develop in New York, where the media is a spotlight on you. Every mistake is analyzed, overanalyzed. The New York media loves pushing people down, which sucks, but it is what it is. These guys are here, and we got to hopefully Hukporti or our new guy here can work out for us, because we need a rim protector. It's not just the Knicks that can't find one. Every single day, the New York Lakers, the LA Lakers are out looking for a center just like us, and they can't find one. No one is giving away centers in the NBA. We got to be at least able to develop a backup center.
The only big man who's a truly great rim protector on the market is I believe every time I've played the Knicks, I've won. Nicholas Claxton, who has not beaten the Knicks once since saying that. But Claxton, there's two reasons why he's on the board. One, the Nets are the one team with positive salary cap. They can go out and sign people this season. On top of that, why not dump off a $27 million contract? He's not worth $27 million. He's worth like 20. So overall, you combine it over the next 4 years, it's a lot of money that you're paying a guy for a team that he's a win now type of player, obviously. So do you really want to... The Lakers are win now. They have LeBron. Any team that's ever had LeBron since the Heat decision, and really 5 years before that, really since 2006, once they made the finals, or 2007, excuse me, once they made the finals and lost, every team that's had LeBron for the last 18 years has been win now instantly. The Lakers have to show Luka, hey, we don't want you to ever consider leaving the Lakers. We want you to win multiple championships here and be the next great Laker legend. So they're probably going to end up getting Claxton. That's my guess, or they could go the Capella route. For the Knicks, yeah, it's going to be tough, and they need to develop a backup center 100%. So the Divincenzo trade, the report is that the Knicks did have discussions about trading for Donte Divincenzo once this offseason hit. So it likely was not going to happen in season last year. The Timberwolves liked Devo. They didn't want to give up on him. He started playing really well, and they're like, we're not shaking up the roster again. We're not trading Divincenzo back to the Knicks right after that for what would have been Mitchell Robinson, because like we already said no to that. We're not doing that. It makes no sense. He can't be on the Timberwolves. The Knicks are not getting Divincenzo from the Timberwolves. They can get him from a third party. That is what they need to do, or in some 3-team trade, as I put, but there's no reason for that to be a 3-team trade. It would then be the Suns trading Devo off. But what happened to Mitch? Nothing happened to Mitch. Mitch is the man. Packaged a shout out Carl Knight, longtime supporter. I say packaged a 50th overall pick and maybe 2 futures to move up in the second round. I do expect the Knicks to move up in the second round. That's my guess. When you got 1 pick in the draft, Matt, 60 picks, your only pick is 50. You got to move up. This team needs a bench.
You got to move up, or you got to, take a knee and just be like, we're not getting anything out of this draft. Maybe even, kick the can down the road, because you got to you have to remember no one's forcing your hand to actually make that pick. So if you don't want to, if there's not a prospect that you feel strongly about, wherever we're picking, trade up, down, or stay put at 50, we have to think, would we rather take a chance on that prospect, or would we rather hang on to the flexibility of the pick to, if we kick it down the road, I'm sure any team would, or not any team, but like 25 teams would swap the 50th pick for a second round pick next year. Then next year we could, worst case scenario, we're in the same position, or better case scenario, we can throw that in a trade for a player who's actually a difference maker instead of just a lottery ticket.
I do agree. I think it makes a lot of sense that you could just do that. It works. Real quick to answer James's question. I'm not saying Claxton's a bad player. I'm saying a guy who has no ability to shoot a ball whatsoever, getting $27 million makes absolutely no sense. On the Lakers, he's worth $27 million. It's not worth anything to the Nets. They're not good. What he's worth is draft capital and probably Rui Hachimura. And win for the Nets. They get draft capital, and they're tanking, so good. But
no, Claxton's, people got to realize, if you're not if you're not like a top 8 team in the league, it really doesn't matter what you have on your team. Like, you just got to be building assets for when a difference maker is either comes out of nowhere, like Jalen Brunson, or you're at the top of the draft, or you're able to trade for one. That's how you build a team in the NBA. You just got to, unfortunately, just the way it works, it's really, really difficult to build a contender. It's not like the NFL where one season you can draft CJ Stroud or draft even Brock Purdy and your whole franchise flipped in a year. That doesn't happen.
Because the draft, I mean, again, the NBA draft, there's the top 3, and outside of that, the miss rate is absurd. So that has to be reminded.
Yeah. No, people. I just want to go back to that trade for a second, and I just want to reiterate. Definitely, I'm not on board. I want to keep Mitch. It's too hard to find center. It's too hard to find rim protection.
I agree. Now, one thing that I do want to cover is what Khadijah did comment, and I pinned the comment. What would be your guys' off seasons? Like, what your dream off season? What moves you want to see them make? Matt, I'll let you take this one away first, because I want to give an in-depth answer. So I want to.
Well, that's actually perfect, because my answer isn't super in-depth, and it's probably really obvious, and it's
bench.
Get the bench. Which, yeah, did you say bench?
Yeah.
Make the bench deeper, and don't trade for Kevin Durant. Please don't trade for Kevin Durant. If they're giving away, if they take our 2 firsts and take some seconds from us, then go get Kevin. I know it's not possible. Actually, we got match salary, so that's not impossible. So yeah, don't trade for Kevin Durant. I don't want to become the Phoenix Suns. If we trade them Mitch and OG, like what was reported at the trade deadline, we become the Phoenix Suns. No defense, no future draft capital, no future.
Yeah. Just L's. James L., my Nets almost made the playoffs. What seed were the Nets? Like, I'm genuinely asking. I do not remember.
Almost made the playoffs. Like, what is that a brag? What is that?
I mean, 20 of the 30 teams technically make the playoffs if you count the play-in, so.
I would call that, I would count that the play-in, not the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. So, still, a little over half the league, 16 out of the 30
teams.
Ooh, but,
whoa. Yes. If you got James, Najee, what do you need Mitch for? They're both the same player.
One of them has played an NBA game.
They're not the same. Not today, they're not.
Yeah.
All right, how about you answer that question first? The pinned comment.
Personal opinion on moves that I'd like to see them make. I agree with you. I don't want to see them make a big trade. If you can land Jaren Jackson in a move that's basically just trading away Mikal, and if you have to trade Mitch as well, I won't be against it. Jaren Jackson would be perfect. It's the one big move that I'd be okay with. The Knicks do have interest. There's people within the Knicks organization that like Jackson.
I think there's another move. If he asks out from Milwaukee, that's another move you'd be in. Yeah.
I mean, same, but he's not. He's not asking out. Giannis is staying. So
I think he might. I
think he should.
Well, there's no question if it makes sense for the team too, though.
It does, but
like go get Steven Castle and go get some picks from the Spurs and restart your franchise.
Mm-hmm.
You could build it around not Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper. That would be fantastic.
And so with all that, I don't think they're going to trade for Jaren Jackson. I think they are interested, but also do we want to start rattling off teams that are interested in Jaren Jackson?
We don't have the assets. Ex defensive player of the year who averaged, what was it, 24 points per game?
22 points
22
per game, 6
points, like
rebounds, 37% from three.
I texted you this. I wish he averaged like 16 points because we don't need the points. B, he wouldn't score those points on our team.
Yeah.
But his trade value would be so much lower.
I agree. But for what I'd like to see the Knicks do, I'm gonna err on the side of keeping Mitchell Robinson because I think for the most part you'd be losing value and getting worse. The only scenario where the team doesn't get worse is if you trade him for Divincenzo, and they still might get worse. It's a coin flip. It's based off can you find rim protection to replace him. But so I'd rather see the Knicks keep Mitch. I also love Mitch. I'm biased towards Mitch. I just will have a personal bias towards that man. But he also told me I'm trash at 2K. He's never seen me play 2K. So what do you... Because you're ducking, Mitch. You're ducking. I was on that live stream. I almost beat IQ. I never use the Pelicans, and IQ uses the Kings all the time. That's not the point. I just wanted to brag that I
Dude, you see both the assets that we sent to the Raptors for OG Anunoby are on the trade block.
They're both being floated for KD. But to finish off this offseason thing real quick, to answer Khadijah's question, I just mumbled like crazy. I would love, again, I don't know how realistic this is, I would love if Chris Middleton asked to be bought out of his contract. He's going to opt into that player option. I would love if the Wizards buy him out. And then the Knicks, with their $5.7 million or more, assume a little bit more, assuming they sign James Najee, I would love for them to offer him that contract. I think that he'd be a little less injury prone on a team where he's being asked to do a lot less. He's coming off the bench. He solves your shot creation problem off the bench. He solves the scoring issue off the bench. He solves your lack of a wing or a forward off the bench. He solves a lot of issues, and he also has championship experience where without him, they wouldn't have beat the Nets. They would have been bounced in round 2. So I love the idea of Middleton. I know it's a health risk, but your whole bench is a health risk if it's still relying on Mitchell Robinson if Mitch comes off the bench. On top of that, I think you sign some minimum contracts where you can. I love the idea of bringing back Landry Shamet. I think you should totally do that. Obviously, just because his name gets thrown around in some trade talks here and there, obviously don't trade Deuce. That contract is awesome. Deuce is awesome. I don't want to see him go. Congrats to Deuce also. He's now a dad. But for all this, I think your big move should try to be Chris Middleton if he becomes a free agent. Let's say he doesn't. I don't hate the idea of Karis LeVert at all for that mid-level exception. Because the Knicks, assuming that they do what we both want, which is fill out your bench, they're making one semi-marquee signing. They're making a signing of a player who people know and go, oh, X just signed with the Knicks. That's what it is. I don't love the idea of Chris Paul because it makes your bench really small. And I don't hate it because you do need someone to handle that ball. You need a ball handler. Deuce is better as a shooting guard. In bare bones terms, Deuce is the reincarnation of Avery Bradley. He's not a point guard. He's an undersized 2, but he's an excellent defender who punches above his weight. So it's a little helpful. Like he could easily play it because again, he punches above his weight. So looking at all that, I would love to see a ball handler join the team, someone who could really do something. The other option is to use Tyler Kolek, which is personally, I love the idea. I want to see Kolek get minutes, and Kolek can handle the ball. You have an internal solution to that problem, which is great, and I think Kolek's going to be a great NBA player. I don't care about the lack of defense. I don't care that we're running out of time. I'll start a new Zoom. But but when it comes down to it, what I think we should start to look at is basically you look at a shot creator off the bench, a Karis LeVert. If Chris Middleton becomes available, Chris Middleton, you could look at Gary Trent, though I don't love the fit personally. On top of that, you then go and just fill the roster out with depth. Bring back Landry Shamet. You can let Payne walk. Probably, with Najee, you don't have to add another big man, so that's kind of off the books. Get someone who's a bigger forward, 6'7" to 6'9" range, with some ability to hit jump shots, I think is important as well. But outside of that, they might target Larry Nance. They've had prolonged interest in Larry Nance Jr. I don't hate that move, but I don't think he'd sign for a minimum, so I don't want that to be your mid-level exception. The free agency class is not great. It's not great. So you have to get one signing. And now we'll answer some other questions as well.
Well, first of all, guys, shout out Marcel in the chat.
Oh, Marcel's in here?
I don't know if you saw him. He's here.
Oh, yeah. This would be
Also,
better with a bald
I love-
black man.
Yeah.
Much
I love the idea of picking up Middleton, but coming off the bench as like this, not even a sixth man, like
Absolutely.
seventh guy off the bench, experience. We need more wing players, so that's what I really like. There was one comment that I was definitely wondering. James L asked thoughts on Knicks recap video about Mikal not signing an extension and wanting a contract as big as OG's. Have you heard anything about that?
So I did not watch Troy's video on that. I will check it out, but basically what I know about it is Mikal. I'm not saying this is not some inside source thing. It's Mikal's. He could sign a 4-year, $156 million contract extension this offseason, or he could wait and get a contract as big as OG Anunoby's next year. That's what I assume that's what that video is about.
Do you think another team would be willing to sign Mikal to a contract like OG's?
Probably is my guess. Just out of this he helps teams win games. Mikal has just always helped everywhere he's gone. They just win when he goes there. Like I know he's not perfect, but he's not an NBA superstar. Everyone has their flaws. I get that.
Dude, but his flaws just popped out of nowhere, which is so frustrating. His flaws don't make sense.
He can definitely be the lack of defense.
It's not that he can be frustrating. He is frustrating. It's a fact.
It's the defense. It's that he's not being better at defense, and I blame Tibbs.
That's how it frustrates me. I appreciate his defense. I think his defense is fine. It's the fact that he has a hiccup in his jump shot for zero reason, and it is like help defense and some stuff with rotations it was flat out bad at points, and not getting back, which was insane. I don't know how the Knicks didn't get back against the Pacers. And that's the reasons why Tibbs got fired. Shout out to Tibbs for bringing us back though.
Yeah, for real. To answer just some other questions, Middleton is too old. He has nothing left in the tank. That's the risk you're taking. Leon Rose is great. Knicks better looking for younger players coming off the bench because that was their biggest problem. Is to pay. Yeah, I saw the video and I'm shocked. That's how much Mikal wants and doesn't want to take a pay cut. Mikal just doesn't want to take a pay cut because he doesn't have to, and the Knicks' hand is forced. They traded 5 firsts for him. But does Troy actually have an inside scoop or speculation? I don't know Troy very well. We were on Knicks Digest together for my first month and a half on the channel. I have no beef with Troy. Great dude. Very nice guy. I have no idea if he has inside sources. I know that, I have the one source, and every time I get any information from the one source, I put it out on Knicks Digest like a day later because I have to make sure that I'm okay.
That source is probably no good now that the source was Tom Thibodeau. Let's just be completely transparent.
Yeah. Me and Tom Thibodeau is my dad. I changed my name, but no. Obviously not gonna say who it is. It's the whole point of sources. So if you don't want to believe me, because I have 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. First of all, thank you for all that. I'm not saying it's nothing, but I think people would expect someone with 17 grand to maybe not have a ton of sources. I don't. I have one. And I've said everything that I know about inside of the Knicks, I put it up on this channel, making sure it's okay with the person giving me this information who says, yeah, just make it clear that it's not dating back to anyone. You could actually see... Never mind. I'm not going to say anything else.
Oh, my God. Why? I know exactly what you're going to say, too.
Nah, because... I'll tell you it off air.
You don't have to tell me. I understand. I'm just saying. I'm not even going to talk about the 5 senses that told me, but I understand. But yeah, Mikal Bridges doesn't even have to be a great 2-way player. He just has to be good, and the team should be good enough. We don't need Suns Bridges. We don't need Brooklyn Bridges. We need something in the middle.
Yeah, and I think he could do that. I think with a different coach, Mikal's going to play better. Mikal didn't like playing for Tibbs. Flat out.
It sounds like. I'm not trying to pile on, but according to the Knicks media, no one liked playing for Tibbs.
They liked Tibbs as a person. Playing for Tibbs is a different. Yeah. It's a different element.
I could totally understand that. He does seem like a good dude who at the same time never smiles. He
smiles off the floor. He's just locked. If you check out the Roommates podcast, a shout out to Matt Hillman. He's the man. And
that was so funny that they got him on that.
Dude, right? I love Matt. Great dude. I
was talking about Tom Thibodeau. I don't know who that is.
Matt Hillman is the other guy on the podcast.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right.
I accidentally bumped into him one time, and like literally we're in the bar at some Knicks event, and I like bump into him like, oh, sorry. He's like, you're good, man. I was like, also, I love the show. Like, I felt it was the most awkward exchange ever. I was like, I'm a loser, dude.
Dude got caught fanboying.
I got caught fanboying. Because I literally was just trying to walk past him, and I was like, excuse me, man. And he was like, oh, what's up? And I was like, oh, just walking past. And then I was like, I didn't want to be rude, so I'm like, also, I love the podcast. It's awesome, dude. You're great. Like,
you felt compelled that you had to say something just because he thought you were saying something to him?
Yeah, he thought I was going to shout him out. I felt bad. He was in a conversation with somebody. I was literally trying to walk past him because I was trying to get to the stairs at this bar to walk downstairs where the open bar was. And I'm like, oh, no. And then I told my friend about the interaction. I'm like, dude, I'm such a loser. He was laughing.
Chris, how do you know that Mikal didn't like playing for Tibbs?
Because again, I have the one source. And it's not just Mikal. That's what I'm saying. It's not just Mikal. I'll give you a quote.
No, I know.
Now.
That's what I was saying. I was saying it sounded like no one likes playing.
Exactly. No. You were right. A direct quote from what I heard. Every important player. It wasn't every player. Not like Huck Porty and McCullough weren't in this meeting or anything like that. No shade towards them. They just all the guys who played in the playoffs, who were like the top 7 at the very least. So we all know Brunson, Hart, Mikal, OG, Towns, Deuce, Mitch. None of them said they had an undying faith in Tibbs. One of them heavily thought to be Mikal, and if it wasn't, it was OG. And there's a rumor that it's Cat, but I don't think that's true.
No, this was not OG.
That's the thing. It doesn't sound like OG. OG is a bit different off the camera, I will say. I'm not hating on OG at all. I'm just saying he's a bit different of a personality off the camera in a little bit of a way. Did not love the idea of re-signing with the Knicks after they traded for Mikal because the whole, well, this guy's just, what is he here to take my spot whole thing? And OG wanted to go to a team where he would get more touches. Mikal was going to impact his touches. Then lo and behold, OG averages most points to average.
OG is so tough. I gotta shout out Carl Knight. We did see your first comment about Maxime Reynaud from Stanford. The problem is me and Chris know exactly zero about that player.
Yeah, I don't want to pretend like I know who he is, and it's a complete fault. I own a sports channel. I should. It's a complete fault on mine. I have to pay better attention to the draft over the next few days because.
Well, no, don't worry. This is a second rounder.
No. I understand. But usually I have a good grasp on some of it. I like Kobe Berra. I do like Kobe Berra, but I'm not great with this draft right now. I need to lock in more. But he won't drop the fifth.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what they're talking about, the Stanford big.
Well, first of all, Jalen did not have an undying faith in Tibbs.
I was going to answer that one.
I literally got the information. Every single player said they did not have an undying faith in Tibbs, and they also said they didn't know what their role was supposed to be because Tibbs didn't specify it. So
let me cut in here. When someone asks you yes or no, do you like this person as a head coach? You're not being a diva if you say no.
Yeah, you're just saying no, not really. I have fundamental disagreements. Also, I'm going to ask you to start the Zoom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll get right back. I'm gonna stay here. We're not also gonna put myself twice, so we're gonna move right here for a little bit. I know it's wonky, but look, I'm not saying this like, oh, it's Mikal. It's not 100% guaranteed that it's Mikal Bridges. There's a world where it is OG. I don't think it is. I think Mikal, who played 38 minutes a night, was like, I don't know if I could play another season under Tom Thibodeau. That is my guess, based off everything I know, is that it was Mikal Bridges saying, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I don't know if I could play a full season under Tom Thibodeau again. I think it's going to he thought it was going to harm him. Or like, dude, playing for Tibbs and playing a full season in the NBA, it's another reason why I think it's Mikal. Mikal's one who's playing every game, every year. Like, he's not never getting hurt. He's getting hurt. He's playing through injuries. Like, so for Mikal, for this situation, it makes a lot more sense that it would be Bridges. I think the Knicks are better off with an offensive head coach as well. I'm going to watch the Yankee game when it starts. Khadijah, well, thank you for tuning in for the time that you were here. I understand that the Yankees are important. If you are a Yankee fan, subscribe to Yankees Digest. Great channel over there. that Yankees Digest creator. He's a handsome guy. Got some good takes. It's obviously me. Question, Chris, any chance of an RJ's return? Raptors changing everything. The money makes it impossible right now. RJ's making $30 million a year, and the Knicks don't have that capital to send. Unless
Chris, I had to ask you. I'm seeing all over Instagram. I've not been watching Raptors basketball. People are saying that RJ's one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Has he taken a turn here for the worst defensively?
it's not as good as it should be on the. When he was on the Knicks, he was a really good defender.
Because I remember that. Yeah. I mean, I remember obviously like Duke RJ doesn't count because he was way better than everyone else. But once he got to the Knicks, his defense was really good.
Also, the fact that Duke RJ could fly through the air and we didn't see that in New York was incredibly frustrating. That guy was jumping through the roof at Duke.
Yeah, the dude's. I mean, the dude's really good, but I think it is safe to say at this point that his ceiling is limited.
Yeah.
Where he is, like, I'm trying to think of a player comparison. What his ceiling is. I feel like I don't even know if he could ever be as good as like Pascal Siakam. I don't even know if he could ever be that good.
Yeah, I have an undying belief in RJ because I love RJ. It's a personal bias
You do
thing.
love RJ to a fault. And probably nothing you say about him ever will be unbiased.
Yeah, I love. He is my favorite non-Nick that is not the all-time leader in points scored. But Nico Costello made a point to say Mets better. Sorry, buddy. I like the Knicks though. Nico, well, in that sense, you should tune in to Mets Digest. I hear the creator over there, who once in a while pops on that channel, is a handsome guy who's got some really good takes on the Mets as well. Not on it much, but I am on it. Also, Michael Duda rocks, so go watch his videos for sure. I'm a Yankee fan, so I actually watch Yankees Digest videos, and I watch some Jets Digest videos as well. Well, thank you, Khadijah. It's very nice of you. I appreciate the constant support. And yeah, I'll give you a shout out on Yankees and Jets Digest as well. But also, when you leave to go watch the Yankee game, again, totally understand. No beef here. I'm probably going to pull it up on my phone at some point. So, yeah. But Knicks need to look at the Oklahoma Rockets, Pacers, and take one or two of their young pieces. It's tough. A lot of them are under contract. And I do think, funny enough, about Oklahoma, and we should probably talk about coaching in a little bit because it's been 45 minutes and we haven't mentioned it. But, yeah. We talked about it literally for 2 hours for last Friday, and we don't have a million updates like last Friday when there was everything, and we had Marcel in here. But I think it's Towns or DeLon Wright. I don't think DeLon Wright was saying anything. I don't think DeLon Wright was in the meeting.
Yeah, there's no chance DeLon Wright was in the meeting.
Yeah. Also, Tibbs gave DeLon Wright minutes after, but given DeLon could be like, well, I clearly should have been playing longer. So I think DeLon has an argument to be like angry.
I'm not convinced that DeLon Wright wasn't just on like a hot streak for those couple games.
There's a world. I think DeLon Wright's a very solid player. I think he's just good. I also think he's better than Cameron Payne. So I always thought he kind of should have been playing over Cam. Actually, initially, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I actually said multiple times I want DeLon Wright to be bought out for Moses Brown. Like, that is what I initially said. But I also, part of me didn't think that he would ever gain Cameron Payne's minutes. But I
also don't think it was Towns because Tibbs let Towns do whatever he wanted.
Towns was doing a lot and also not playing defense.
Which we know does not. It's not supposed to fly with Tibbs, but it clearly did.
I think Tibbs knew his job was in serious danger. I don't think it was lost. Tibbs almost got fired in December of 2022.
Tibbs wasn't the right fit for this team anymore. We're building an offensive team, and Tibbs is a defensive coach. It wasn't a good fit anymore, which sucks because he's a great coach. But,
yeah. That's why I don't want Jason Kidd as the head coach. He's a defensive-minded head coach who lets the offense do whatever they want. That sounds a lot like the guy they just fired.
So I'm hearing Johnny Bryant is now a long shot for the Knicks head coaching job, Chris.
Yes, there's a lot of
updates on him.
I'll actually give you a little bit of an inside scoop right now. There is first of all, there is a lot of comments that Johnny Bryant is more of a long shot, and it's from reputable, like just really good sources, specifically Ian Begley, who, shocker I know, knows a lot more about what's going on inside the Knicks than I do. Shout out to Ian Begley, he's the man. This was mentioned by CP the franchise, who, while we're talking about people who have a lot more sources than me, you can add CP's the best Nick creator on the internet by a country mile. I mean, all that crew was great. But the whole team. But CP did mention that he thinks Johnny Bryant, he has fans in the organization. He didn't say who. I imagine he knows one of them because I know one of them, and that is none other than the man who signs the checks, Jimothy Dolan. Loves the idea of Johnny Bryant being the New York Knicks head coach. So I think it's going to be Johnny Bryant because Dolan's getting bored. So he's getting involved in playing NBA 2K My League right now. So I do think it's going to be Johnny Bryant. I also think that Leon Rose still has control over the shots not more than Dolan, because obviously Dolan would be like, nope, we're doing this. I'm overruling you. But Dolan and Leon Rose are friends. Like, they've known each other for a very, very, very long time. So, also, William Wesley. Like, the man's just connected to everyone. Dolan knows this crew well, and he's friends with them. He's very friendly. It's not like how we didn't really know Phil Jackson very well, and he just hired him because, in theory, it seemed like the right move at the time. And it's kind of hard to argue that the hiring of Phil Jackson just didn't work because I don't know what the hell happened to Phil. But, I don't know, dude. How the hell was he so bad at this? It makes no sense. But, revisionist, Dolan was a punching bag in the middle of the year for you. And I don't... Hammer... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Troy was... Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, Troy was big on Moses Brown as well. I think a lot of us were, like, as a Knicks fan group. And, yeah, no, I definitely said I want DeLon Wright bought out for Moses Brown. And I was like, I don't understand why DeLon Wright's still on this team. Like, I'm not gonna hide, not say it. He shouldn't have been on the team. Or, in my mind, at the time. I was wrong. Dude, right. I'm making 2 to 3 Knicks videos a day. Sometimes I'm going to have incorrect takes. Can't.
No. You have to be perfect, Chris. You have to be perfect. You have to you have to be perfect, and you have to talk about stuff that not only do you not know a lot about it, no one knows a lot about it because they're keeping it under wraps. And you are going out on a limb. You are pretty much sticking your neck out, and making what are the informed decisions? That's what I'm saying. Informed decisions on these. You got to be perfect though. Let's talk about these odds. Currently, according to Fox Sports, Mike Brown by a mile, 125. And if you are a betting man, that's like really likely to be the next head coach for the Knicks.
I think it's because this is clearly an offensive team. Mike Brown is an offensive head coach. I wanted the second he got fired, I was like, the Knicks right now should hire Mike Brown as their offensive coordinator and their lead assistant coach to Tibbs. Rick Brunson should not be the lead assistant, or I should say the associate head coach. That's a real name for it. It should.
Name. I mean, no, OC wasn't that made up. Everyone understands what you're talking about when you say OC.
Yeah, but I think he also should have been the associate head coach because obviously he's a bit more tenured when it comes to being a coach in basketball than Rick Brunson, who's only ever had jobs when he's been hired by Tom Thibodeau. Given he'll stay with the team because what are you going to do? Call him like, hey, Jalen, we're firing your dad. Thanks for the pay cut, buddy. I don't think they're going to do that. Also, players like Rick Brunson. We got to say one thing about Rick Brunson, though. Him being on the ballot on sportsbooks as an option for you to bet him to be the next Knicks head coach, that's just for sportsbooks to make money off people betting that for fun. That's not actually a possible solution. Yeah, if you're in a state that can bet on the Knicks head coach, do not bet on Rick Brunson. There's a zero. I'm not even kidding you. Both me and Matt have the same chance of being the head coach as Rick Brunson.
I'm telling you, it is a betting. It's not a scam.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's just like how every July 4th when they do the hot dog eating contest, the line is always set really, really high because people for fun like to take the over.
Yeah,
and it's something like that. Vegas, remember, at the end of the day, they are about being right, but more importantly, they're about making money, and that's a bet that will make them money because there's a 0 chance that they pay that out.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's why The Rock is always mentioned for betting odds to be the next president of the United States. It's the same thing. Yeah, Moses Brown did do well in Dallas. He averaged around 12 points and 8 rebounds a night. His final 2 games put up 20 and 10. I think he should get a chance in the NBA. I'm a very, 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 very big Moses Brown supporter. He was good on OKC when he played there for around 58 games. Started at center a good amount as well. He's been on the Trailblazers like 2 or 3 times. He's been around, but he's never stuck around. As D. Grant said, which he's 100% correct about, he was not good at defending the pick and roll, and his lateral movement is very slow. That's tough to get around. I think Moses Brown can be a backup player in basketball, and I think he should be. And it bothers me that he's not on a team because I'm a big Moses Brown supporter. He also is from New York City, so I think I'm a little biased towards anyone from New York. But at the same time, I just think Moses Brown is good. Like, I flat out think he's a solid player. So I think he should be in the NBA. One of the reasons why the Knicks didn't sign him was the financial stuff. They were not allowed to go into the second apron last year. It was some rule from the Bridges trade that they just couldn't. Even if they wanted to go into the second apron, they couldn't. It was illegal for them. So they couldn't really make too many changes unless DeLon Wright took that buyout deal. So it would have been a whole lot to really look at here.
All right, Chris, let's stay on with the hard-hitting topics. The second odds betting favorite is Taylor Jenkins. I've not met a single Knicks fan who's a fan who wants Taylor Jenkins to be the head coach. Where do you stand on him?
I think like most coaches who are fired and well regarded as head coaches, you're taking the good with the bad, which is what we did with Tom Thibodeau. Now, given you could say that about basically any head coach in basketball, you're taking the good with the bad. Does the good outweigh the bad enough to make it worth it? So for me with Taylor Jenkins, very good at on-the-fly adjustments. I love that. Terrible minutes distribution. I hate that. I mean, he's the opposite of Tibbs. Literally, like, everyone's getting a million minutes. The highest man played per game is like 32 minutes last year with the Grizzlies, with Desmond Bane. Like, he's not playing these guys enough minutes. So it's the reverse issue we had with the big old Tibbs. So I don't love the idea of Taylor Jenkins. I agree with Carl Knight. I want Jenkins over Brown. I want Johnny Bryant as the head coach. I know he's a first-time head coach. I know that's a risk, but also it's a risk that's paid off a lot in recent history. Steve Kerr goes to the Warriors after there was a coach who did a good job with a lot of aspects but wasn't perfect. Steve Kerr comes in, the ball movement vastly improves, and the team wins the finals the next year. You look at Joe Mazzulla taking over for a great coach at Ime Udoka because, well, Ime was just kind of a jerk.
Chris, I got a very interesting couple of statistics for you right here with your defense, or more likely your attack of why you don't want Taylor Jenkins. You said their highest player played how many minutes?
I believe it was 32. I feel like I'm incorrect now.
No. Let's call it 32.
Was it 31.8?
I don't know. But what I do know, the Pacers and the Thunder combined had 4 players play more than 32 minutes per game. Halliburton with 33.6, Shai Gilgeous 34.2, Jalen Williams 32.4, and Pascal 32.7. So is that a bad thing to not play guys too many minutes, to have a deep team and run the guys more minutes? We just watched 2 teams run that strategy and make it to the NBA Finals. So I would just caution before we throw that out as the worst thing. I just want to say the stats aren't everything, but they're kind of picking up on a little bit of a story here.
No, you just made an excellent point that really just in a lot of ways changed my mind about Taylor Jenkins. I'm not kidding. I have to process this.
I'm saying it. I'll keep going.
I have to process this. Talk to the chat for a second.
Yeah. No, I'm
not in my underwear. These shorts are just short.
On the last Knicks Happy Hour, the NBA is changing. I don't know if people saw Kevin Garnett talking about as well how teams are getting much deeper and the players are running harder, and they're getting away from the old team builds of the big 3, and we're going into, you need a full, really, really good team to win the finals. That's why we're seeing in Game 7 of the NBA Finals a team without a top 10 player in the Indiana Pacers. Let's see. They took Ja over Jenkins. Dude, Ja Morant. I mean, what does anyone actually think Ja Morant is going to win anything for the Timberwolves or for the Memphis Grizzlies? Ja Morant is a little bit one-dimensional as a player. He's great on offense, makes great highlights, but how much winning basketball does he actually play?
Some for debate.
Mama. Dude, I was watching the live stream. I forgot that you could get here first.
I don't mind Monty Williams for assistant coach. I agree. Also, keep saying what you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was pretty much done, but I was saying the NBA is changing. The blueprint of how you need to build a team is changing, and maybe Taylor Jenkins is the guy, because we still have. Let's pretend they weren't injured, which of course they are. We still have the starters to beat the Celtics. If we get a deeper bench and a different minutes playing philosophy with Taylor Jenkins, is he the right option? Is he the right guy to take this team to a championship? I'm low-key starting to convince myself right now.
I wouldn't be mad if they hire, even when I had the minutes concern that you just completely debunked. Now, given the Pacers and the Thunder have a better bench, but we all know what the Knicks need to do over the offseason, get a better bench, so this is feasible. I mean, again, my minutes point doesn't matter anymore. I was wrong. So,
yeah, no, you were right. You were right. Desmond Bane was their most played guy with exactly 32 minutes, so you were right on the money.
At least I was right about that. But no, I was wrong. But the comments I was making was incorrect. And again, as I said, I'm just not always going to be 100% accurate. Just like White Claw is not going to sponsor Knicks Digest Happy Hour until we can get back in contact with them. They don't answer my emails, so that's a problem.
Did they answer any of them?
Well, they send me emails, but it's just sponsorship emails because I signed up for a newsletter so I could try to win a raffle. they don't answer. Their marketing team does not answer my contacts about hey, I shout you guys out every week on YouTube and drink your wonderful black cherry drinks.
Dude, Steven Adams is such a good player.
I'm so upset the Rockets re-signed him. I saw that and I fell to my knees. I didn't, but I was really pissed because I was like, that's what you do if you trade Mitch is you sign Steven Adams. He's an excellent basketball player. But to find a way to turn this or something. See the chat. All right, there we go. I'll never understand the Celtics. I'll never underestimate the Celtics because you never know who will be an all-star other than Derek White. No, the Celtics are great. I'm not, like, counting them out this year at all. Jenkins is going to be the head coach, and these aprons making these things, doing maneuvers. Yeah, I kind of think, if I were to tell you to bet on it right now, as I said, I know for a fact James Dolan, at least at the time of me getting this info, which was the day that it was announced that Tibbs was fired, that Dolan's pick was Johnny Bryant. But, again, as Bagley has said recently, and again, trusty in Bagley's inside reports over mine. But outside of that, like, I would guess, pure guess, that if it's not Johnny Bryant, it's going to be Taylor Jenkins. And I would not mind Taylor Jenkins. I think he does a lot right. He has such a good rapport, was a head coach. I thought he was an excellent head coach for the Grizzlies, personally. I know he kind of lost the locker room, namely Ja Morant, but, and I like Ja Morant.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
It's kind of like, all right, first, you lost the Grizzlies locker room. Okay, whatever. You mainly lost Ja Morant. It's not like Ja Morant has proven to be the world's most stand-up guy. Like, he's not, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's just sometimes he's an idiot. And that's fair. I've been an idiot in the past, too, so it's fine. It's just, I think
Chris, you've never made mistakes ever in your entire life.
I'm perfect, Matt. I'm the first person since Jesus to be perfect. But how do you think Steven Adams' contract is going to change? What is going on with my
Are you good?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just checking something very quickly.
All right, dude. How old is Chris Middleton? Chris Middleton's 33. The dude's not 33. Ancient. The dude's not ancient.
He plays like he is.
No, he plays like he's older than that.
Yeah, sorry. I just thought the stream was not running for a second. It absolutely is. We're doing great. But in regards, I need to see these comments, man.
No, sorry, D Grant brought up a pretty much. He's saying he agrees with you that experienced coaches are overrated, and he thinks OKC is going to win with a very young head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the track record, we've certainly seen teams have a ton of success in a team's first year of the head coach. So the stats will tell you that. And then obviously, common knowledge would tell you it's not a good fit. The New York media, the New York expectations specifically for this year, a first-time head coach, it doesn't look like the job for that. But we've seen it in big markets, cough, cough, Golden State. It's happened before. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it happened that one time. Like it happens like at a enough times over and over again where you feel like it is not just tanking it by not getting a first-time head coach.
Also, there's very few long-standing head coaches in the NBA right now. There's very, very few. So that whole thing is a bit overrated as well. But yeah, I also, because you mentioned OKC, D. Grant, I like the idea, and I'm going to do a full video on this. I will talk about it a little bit here. I love the idea of Dave Bliss as a head coach. He's never been a head coach before, but at least at the NBA level, but is on OKC's bench right now, was with the Knicks in the past, understands the Knicks, understands the front office, all that stuff. They could look to bring him back. I like the idea of Chris Quinn from the Heat. I think there's a bit of an overrating thing going on there because the team he coaches for, given I might be wrong, he might just be an excellent head coach. The coach I really wanted back in the day when the Knicks chose Tibbs. I was very, very, very against the Tibbs signing, and I was wrong. I thought Tibbs was not going to be a good head coach at all. He was, in a lot of ways, a very good head coach. He just wasn't good enough. But I wanted Will Hardy. I'm upset that we didn't get to do that because he's excellent over in Utah. But I like the idea of Bryant. I don't really think the experience thing is too much of a factor. You're great or you're not. And Matt, we talked about this on Jets Digest a couple months ago when they were in the hiring process, and a good 10 to 20 million names were floated around. You made a point at the time, which is now very, very, very accurate with the Knicks as well. Obviously, these two teams are in completely different scenarios. The Knicks are one of the best teams in the NBA right now and are full-on contention mode. The Jets are not at all. They're terrible. And you mentioned your problem with taking a head coach from another team that had been fired or something is there's always a reason why a head coach gets fired. It's very rare that a head coach gets fired for something that's not due to on-the-field things, and the person I'm referring to here is Ime Udoka. So, and the Knicks wanted Ime both times. So, 2 weeks ago they were trying to get Ime Udoka. So
let me just say one thing quickly.
Yeah,
that is definitely different for football because in football it's basketball
head coach matters way more.
Yeah, it matters more because it's like game playing and stuff and play calling. But it also in basketball the fit matters sometimes more than how good the guy is. Like maybe you would rather have a 8 out of 10 head coach who's a great fit over the 10 out of 10 head coach who's not a good fit. Because that's why sometimes teams just come out of nowhere and play really, really well. Also, to James L in the comments, if JJ Redick was available right now to be our head coach, I would, in a second, say bring him to New York.
Oh, absolutely. And he would have taken this job, too. He lived in Brooklyn Heights. Probably still has the apartment. Man's loaded.
Still has it, you think?
He's loaded.
Domitas Sabonis equals Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know, but no.
I'm taking Sabonis.
No.
I know Hartenstein's defense is better, but that might, honestly...
Dude.
That might be my brother. I don't think it is. I don't think he has an account called Soul Train 68. But my brother is so anti-Sabonis. It is insane. Like, I've never seen someone who's so anti-Sabonis. He's like, good. The Kings are losing. My Sabonis take that he's not good lives on.
Bro, it's so funny how the Kings set up that roster, just like the Bulls did. And they're like, woo, let's fake compete. Let's pretend to compete.
Let's have competing. DeRozan and Levine and a good white big man who's from Europe and say we're going to win games and not have a point guard ever. Okay, if I were a Kings fan, dude, Yikers, dude. Yikers. Dumbo, not Brooklyn Heights. Yes, you're correct.
He's right. I thought he was calling one of us Dumbo. Like, what?
I think both of us at times have been a bit of a Dumbo. Mainly me. It's kind of my thing. Brooklyn Nets will have 4 first-round picks in the 2025 NBA draft. They own the 8th, the 19th, the 26th, and the 27th overall. Can we get our pick back from Brooklyn? We'd have to trade a player.
Yeah, but I just want to, before we answer that, I want to just want to give him time to answer. Sherwin, who do you want? Who do you want to trade up for to target out of college?
That's a good question. Also, shout out to Sherwin. He's been a Knicks Digest supporter since the old days.
Yeah, definitely. Also, want to read his other comment. He said, hey, what's up? It's impossible for us to get Devo if we're not trading Mitch. We agree.
Yeah.
They traded Fox for nothing. Yeah, the Kings don't know what they're doing. Just straight up, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they fired their GM and their head coach, and they hired a GM who is none other than good old Scott Perry, who was the Knicks GM for a while, both when Leon was there and pre-Leon.
Ooh. Space Coast wants to move up for Ryan Kalkbrenn out of Creighton. Chris, you know who that is? I think you do. He's the Creighton. You've definitely watched him play. The super, super tall guy at Creighton.
Oh, yes.
Yep, that guy.
I mean, I'm always scared about super, super tall dudes. I don't trust their health I don't trust Wemby's health. I hope he's healthy. I love Wemby. He's awesome.
So do I. So because we are about to witness something special if that man is healthy.
It's gonna be really, really terrifying if he gets healthy.
Dude, they were way too close to adding Cooper Flag to that team.
Dude, I would have. When I saw the teams that jumped up, I was like, this sucks. I want to put my head through a wall on behalf of Hornets and Wizards fans. They did nothing to deserve this. Drake Powell.
Oh yeah, Drake Powell. I think he's one of the. Oh wait, no, this is not what I thought. I thought he was talking about Jeremiah Fears.
Great name. So coaches get fired for a reason, but Vivek fired Brown. King's organization is incompetent. That's also the thing. Like, you can't trust anything the Kings do to be smart or stupid because Vivek Rantaviv just goes crazy sometimes. I might have said the wrong last name, but I'm like 95% sure that's how you say and pronounce his name. But yeah, I don't disagree. This summer league is going to be very important to our bench and hope some of these rookies from last year blossom. I do expect Tyler Kolek to be in the rotation next year. I don't think they're going to spend the money on a point guard because they need someone else to control the ball. They have one. They're in a salary situation here. I think it makes sense for them to... Point
guards are like wide receivers in football. Everyone needs one. Everyone wants another one, and they're so expensive.
Yeah. I think the best move is to just run with Kolek. If it doesn't work, you could make a deadline trade. Like,
unless you want to trade up for like Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. He's probably be in the late first round. Maybe he's there at the top of the second.
But then also you took a guy who went early second round. There's not that much of a difference, like with Kolek. So I want to see Kolek get better.
I mean, I think
you're a bigger.
I think Walter Clayton's better than Kolek.
That's fair.
I'm not a bigger fan. Not a bigger fan, but I think he's better.
I meant like a bigger fan in the sense of like
you think he's better. You think he's better.
Yes.
Yeah, that's usually what I mean. That's usually what I mean. Drake is Mikal Bridges' twin in his playing style, but more athletic. The problem with Drake Powell is he played at UNC, which means he's going to be a bust 1,000 billion bajillion %.
That is a huge.
That's a scientific fact.
That is a massive Duke fan.
Speaking of Duke guys, is there a chance we're trading for Kobe White?
It's definitely possible. They love Kobe White.
I know they love Kobe White. When Leon Rose and Dolan love a player the way they love Karl-Anthony Towns, they'll get him, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
because Karl-Anthony Towns is not I don't think he's a winning basketball player. We're not going to get into this now. Oh, creative with a significantly better point guard here. Tyus Jones would be great if we could get him to a vet's minimum this offseason.
I 1,000,000% agree. I would love Tyus Jones on a minimum deal.
Tyus Jones, him and Trey Jones, like every year, it would be Tyus in the NBA, Trey Jones in college with the best assist-to-turnover ratio. The dude's a great ball handler. He's obviously not amazing at anything else, but that's all we need him to do.
Solid enough around the edges, though. So, like... Drake is Mikal Bridges' twin, playing style but more athletic. Yeah, I mean, I think in regards to, I forget what we were talking about. I was trying to remember what were we saying? Before the Tyus Jones thing. Yeah, I was trying to.
What? Why would you read a comment out loud and then answer something else?
Tyus is the defense isn't great.
You play Tyus. You play Tyus off the one off the bench, and then you play Deuce with him. Deuce is going to be Deuce is he's not as good as these players, but he's like our Caruso McConnell type guy who's going to mess with whoever the other team's point guard is. If we're going to be competing, we need a guy who can lock down opposing teams' point guards, and we're going to need Tyrese Halliburton locked down. We're going to need Shai Gilgeous-Alexander locked down. We're going to need maybe De'Aaron Fox, or whoever else, maybe Luka Doncic, whoever else you'll see in that finals locked down. Because the top teams coming out, they're going to have a great point guard.
Yeah, all teams do them.
Ooh, Chris, what do you think about that? Would DeLon Wright or Tyus Jones?
I mean, I'm assuming in this argument that we're going with both these guys are taking the minimum. If one of them is and the other isn't, you give the minimum guy. But an effort of or Dennis Smith?
Is it Dean Smith from the Cavs?
That's Dean Wade, and he's a power forward.
Yeah, I was thinking Dennis Smith as well, but wouldn't you say like Junior on the end of that?
Maybe he didn't feel like typing the extra 2 letters, which
yeah, we're not sure who you're talking about here.
Sometimes I literally send you half words because I don't feel like typing the next 2 letters. I don't want Dennis Smith back.
No, definitely not. Well, that's also one of the reasons why I was like, there's no way he means him, right?
Yeah, I don't want Dennis Smith back. Yeah.
Oh, it was Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah, no.
I'm good. I'd pass.
Yeah, I'm also good. Like, he was name dropped by J. Cole, and that was pretty cool, but like, not good enough at basketball.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of Dennis Smith. I might lean DeLon Wright a little bit over Tyus, but Tyus is a much better ball handler, so
No, you're good.
I'm trying to think. It's close, but the Knicks need ball handling. I'm going to change my answer. I'm going Tyus Jones.
Dude.
It's the ball handling.
I'm Tyus Jones all the way, because we need...
I do love DeLon, though. I love the way he plays defense.
We need a ball handler. Look at the Pacers. They have guys off the bench who do one specific thing.
Yeah.
They got the rim runner with Obi Toppin. They got the all-around annoyance in TJ McConnell. And they got Benedict Mathurin, who, he's kind of there. But
he's good.
No, he's going to be in there. Like, he's definitely there. He's definitely there.
Yeah.
And then you have that guy, number 26. What's his name?
Ben Shepherd.
The last guy. Ben Shepherd. That guy's good at being awful at basketball. So yeah, I love the idea of bringing Tyus Jones because we need that role. When Jalen Brunson's off the floor, this is a lot of coaching as well. The offense just does not function like an NBA offense.
Yeah.
It functions like a rec center offense.
It does. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. It's really fun. Tyler Coley, backup point guard. If he isn't this year, he might never be. I
disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think that we are expecting too much too early out of rookies, and even if there will be another guy he's competing with in 2 years from now, you have to imagine his experience over that, whoever that rookie is going to be, is going to give him the edge.
Yeah. And I think with all this in mind, I do want to see it be Kolek, because you can add another veteran point guard to the roster. I don't mind them going after DeLon again. I actually think they're going to re-sign DeLon, right? And
so I with Kolek, Summer League will be telling, I have to see him improve, not turning the basketball over. Every single time he gets in, when the passes aren't a turnover, they're dangerous. And when they are turnovers, they're turnovers.
Yeah.
So that I like Tyler. I think he has more development to go. Him and Huck Porty, I think they can be very good rotational players. But I'm even in their second year, I'm not putting anything on their plate. I'm just letting them, just absolutely letting them learn, let them develop.
You can't stop those guys. Oh, okay, I thought he meant that we couldn't stop them at first. He means like no one can guard like the Halliburtons and Shays of the world. Like no one in the NBA.
I mean Halliburton went 0 for 6 2 nights ago. I agree with that.
I think we contain them. It's tough.
And when I say stop them, yes, no one can stop them. But look at what Lou Dort is doing to Tyrese Halliburton.
Torture chamber. Our boss.
Look what we did to Jason Tatum in round 2 before the injury. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. Kolek will always be a defensive liability. You can get around that. He's a bench player.
You can get around that, dude. He's just got to work at it. Like Steph Curry, he's still a bad on-ball defender, but there are other things he does defensively. It's like Jalen Brunson. Terrible defense, obviously. He's short. He's never going to get over that.
Yeah.
But he's learned to take charges really well.
And when Steph won the MVP in his second one in a row in 2016, dude, he led the league in steals. Like, he is crafty enough. Yeah, he's not good at stopping people, but as you said, he figured out ways. And so is Brunson. So Kolek's a smart guy. He'll figure it out.
I have faith in him. I just want to say, don't expect too much out of him because you probably will be disappointed. There are, Chris, how many starters in the NBA?
Oh, combined?
Yeah.
150.
How many is that? 150?
150.
There it is. Answer my own question. So, there are only 150 starting spots.
They're not coming over. He just said so because he actually did a video on this. It's the one with James Najee, the thumbnail, the one from yesterday, not today. I didn't even release that video. I'm talking about. It's the one with James Najee in the thumbnail. So check that out. There is an update on Rockets. Not coming. Not happening.
There isn't. He's not coming. I thought you said the video's not coming. There is an update. I am not releasing that video.
I have a massive update for you guys that I am not releasing. Go watch.
Only I will know.
Only I'm keeping it. I'm gonna start gatekeeping information. No. Yeah, we're not getting Rockets over here. He just doesn't want. He doesn't want to do it. So, is what it is. Nothing you can do about that. I want to be Kolik. I want to see the rest of the bench round out with a couple other nice pieces as well. Maybe if you can get Middleton, I don't mind it. I actually like it a lot. In fact, I do trust on 18 minutes a night that he'd be pretty effective and probably less injury prone. So that, I think there's a few other cool options as well that they could try to pull off for this team. Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a fallback option in Gary Trent Jr., James Edwards mentioned Malik Beasley as an option, but he's going to get paid way more than $5.7 million on that MLE. And also, I just think he's going to stay in Detroit. He just had a great season there. Why would he leave? So, I think it's a matter of just figuring some things out, figuring out who you want to go with, what you want to do with this roster. I I'm now realizing, considering the week is 7 days long, and June 25th is, June 25th, and today's the 20th.
Is Wednesday.
Yes, it's Wednesday, that this is the last happy hour. We might go live again, but this is the last happy hour before the draft.
I'm sure we probably will be live. That just makes sense, right?
I imagine that we could go live on the draft. Me and Dariel went live last year.
I remember that. You guys were a wealth of information.
We were live for 3 hours, and we were like, once it was over, we're like, oh my, thank God. It was rough because the live was not doing well, and we were exhausted doing it.
Well, I mean, so this year it's 2 days. So the Knicks, as it stands right now, will be getting their new player on Thursday.
Yeah, but we might see a trade happen, so the Knicks might be involved.
Oh, I mean, plus we can just talk about basketball and such on Wednesday.
Absolutely. So you guys want to make sure to stay ready for that, given there is a chance that I will not be around because the day of the draft, Wednesday, June 25th, I do happen to turn 24 years old that day, so I might be out and about in the world getting dinner, drinking.
Dude, I was going to say you definitely have a birthday for someone that day because you know everyone. You have a birthday every single day. And then, look at that, the most important birthday.
The most important birthday of them all, my birthday. I turned 24 years old. And
it's the most important birthday to you. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, it definitely is.
It certainly is. I'm not counting down days for your birthday. In fact, I've forgotten your birthday 2 years in a row, and then I feel really bad about it. Dude, I didn't even know it was your birthday that one time that we were in the Uber. And then you mentioned, I was like, oh, man, I'm the worst. I felt so bad.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was when we were seniors in college. We were going to the world-renowned Sea Grape bar. And then I bought you some drinks because I felt really bad.
Space Ghost is so right. It's ridiculous that the Pacers had to make a trade during the NBA Finals, during playing in the finals.
That's insane. That is nuts that they did that.
I'm sorry, is it like a garbage catch-up mechanic? The fact that the Pacers and OKC can't properly set up their big board? Like,
yeah, it's so... I hate that.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Coach will be hired by Tuesday right before the draft. I just bit my tongue. Well, we'll see. But, guys, we're going to head out. We've been on here for a while. It's time. Thank you so much for tuning in to Knicks Digest Happy Hour. We always appreciate all of it. Guys, like this, subscribe, turn on post notification, catch all videos here, and go catch me and Matt on Jets Digest, and catch me on Yankees Digest, and sometimes Mets as well. Have a great day. Matt disappeared. The Zoom is gone.